The crane, the wolf, the bear and the boar no longer dwell upon these shores. You say the goddess and God have gone, but I tell you they live on, for in the cities and hills and in circles of stone, the voices of the old ways, the spirit of Albion is calling you home.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the British Pantheon. Today we are doing God Maponus. God Maponus was called the Divine Son. He's actually was put into the British Pantheon during the Roman invasion back then, and they kind of clashed. So he is kind of like God Apollo, but also combine that with the Christian religion of Jesus Christ. So he is actually the combination of both. He is very interested here, so let's get started. Here is his titles, alternative names, and spellings, and symbols. Enjoy. Guys, welcome back to God Maponus. Now, as you saw there, I used that Christian song because Maponus is actually a combination of Apollo and Jesus. Now, how they got that, as cultures blend together, the story behind the Catholic Church basically is how they figured instead of pissing off everyone to make them convert to Christianity, and they took all the pagan statues and pagan gods and built the churches over them, and made their religion out of other pagan gods. Now, Maponus was actually a blended into Christianity from Apollo, and they combined the two to make, they took him to represent Jesus, since his title is the Divine Son, the Great Son, the Harvest Lord, Straw King, and what he is God of here, he is God of pottery, music, and the hunt. Now, being the God of pottery, which is creativity, and basically Jesus, was a creator, so he's a perfect thing for that. Music from the God Apollo, which they combined and made music, and he is the God of a hunt because of his bow. He is famous for his bow. He is a great hunter, and he is portrayed as very beautiful, such as Apollo was. So the British, when it came to be, we know the England and Europe, basically. Europe and Britain, I got in trouble before, but by saying that someone got offended me including always saying England when I talk about Europe. Um, but anyhow, Britain basically said, how can we do this? Because Rome was basically invading Britain by then, and they said, okay, let's combine Apollo, since Britain was a very pagan country back then. Let's combine Apollo, and combine our god, Maponus. You know, so basically that's kind of the story how he came to be, and how he's been around forever, just like the rest of the gods. He was basically the title of the divine son, the royalty, just like God Horus was in the Egyptian. His story of creation is identical to the Christian story of creation, and such thing with God Maponus. Now, God Maponus, his sacred animals, he had 5. They were blackboards, the stag, the owl, the eagle, and the salmon. Sorry. His sacred color was brown. His element was earth. His Sabbaths, he has 2. Fall equinox and Samhain, or Samhain. His associated planets was the Sun and the Earth. Now, to talk about this again, as we see, the stag is his sacred animal because he is the god of the hunt, and the stag is very sacred to wooden gods, earth-based gods. As we have seen, the blackboards are wild in nature, so is the owl. The owl is basically a lookout animal at night. The eagle, so a lot of birds here. Now the salmon is actually a story, part of his sacred animal, because they're unlimited. Just like in the book of the Christian Bible, how fish is supposed to be unlimited in the sea. And it was supposed to be in the book, it was supposed to be they ate, salmon. So his sacred animal is salmon, hence the connections. His sacred color being brown, because brown is also a representation of earth, just like green is. His element is earth, of course. His Sabbaths, fall equinox, and Samhain are basically the changing of the seasons. Him being a god of the sun was actually supposed to be representation of heavens, because when people think about heavens or, the afterlives and stuff, they think about a bright light, always seeing a bright light. Hence the word sun, since he is the divine sun. Get that little clue there. And the earth, of course. Now, his representations, he has 4. They are acorns, gourds, corn sheaves, fall leaves. His herbs and incense, he has 20. There is rue, yaw, rosemary, marigold, sage, walnut leaves, mistletoe, myrrh, saffron, charmanon, all listed below, almond, passion flower, frankincense, rose hips, bittersweet, sunflowers, wheat, oak leaves, dried apple, pine, and sweetgrass. Now, as we saw here, his representations is a lot of nature, since he is, again, a very creative god, and more so Hunt being nature god. Of course, he's going to have a lot of these, representations. Now, his herbs and incense, if you don't know much about herbs and incense, all these that I mentioned are basically all healing herbs. So, since he is the divine son, he is also a great healer. So, a lot of stuff that are sacred to him are healing herbs. A lot of the stuff is easy to get a hold of. Some of it being rosemary, marigold, sage, mistletoe, myrrh, almond, frankincense, sunflowers, wheat, oak leaves, dried apple, pine. Those are pretty well easy to come across, depending where you live. Anyhow, let's get to his mother. His mother was the divine mother named Modron. His father is unknown. Now his lover, the person that he lusted after, was goddess Persephone, queen of the underworld. And he had no divine children. Now, I don't know much about his mother. I didn't do a lot of research. But I suppose her heritage would go back to goddess, the Christian Mary, divine mother there. And his father, I couldn't find anything about his father. So, but the story about Persephone, she is queen of the underworld in the Greek mythology, wife of Hades. Now, Hades and Maponus, the divine son, fought all the time over Persephone. Hades eventually won, but he was very jealous of Hades, and the reason he sought after Persephone was, you're thinking about a lot of these orbs, and he kind of is really related to Persephone, him being so-called good, god of good, of life, and Hades being god of the underworld, death. They kind of would butt heads, but Persephone was also goddess of harvest. So him having a lot of harvest stuff here, of course he would be attracted to her. Now Persephone didn't really care for him. Hence also why she sided with Hades. Anyhow, this has been it for God Mapuffs. Now I can't say his name. Divine Son. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and may you all have a blessed day.